Hey everyone, it's Jackie, and today we're going to start painting. I'm going to show you how to paint the 12 colors of the Artist Color Wheel. So you're going to need your watercolor paint, a sheet of the Bristol, along with your brushes, a cup for water, and some paper towels. Let's get started.
All right, so I have everything I need here on my clean workspace. I have a cup full of clean water, and this is just an old jam jar that's been cleaned out. I have my watercolor paints here, one of the brushes, piece of Bristol, and some clean paper towels. You can see that I have actually traced the color wheel onto my piece of Bristol, and I did that by taking this printout and putting it behind my Bristol and then holding it up to a window with bright sunlight coming through it, and then tracing over the dark lines. The next thing I did was I labeled my color wheel here. So if you look closely, you may be able to see this says red, red, orange, orange, yellow, orange, yellow, yellow, green, 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 blue, 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 violet, violet, and then red, violet. The 12 colors of the Artist's Color Wheel. When you first take your brushes out of the new package, you may notice that they feel a little stiff. They're actually coated with a little bit of kind of like a wax covering. So you can use your fingers to get that off, but then also you may want to just rinse it in water and then use the side of your container to get rid of the excess water. I'm going to start by painting the three primary colors. And in subtractive color, that is red, yellow, and blue. So let's start with red. Now, when you look at your paint kit here, you're going to see that the colors are actually labeled on the back here, and there's more than one red. So we are actually going to use a mixture of the Crimson Lake and the light red in order to get a middle red. So the Crimson Lake is actually this one. Let's take a look and see what that color looks like. So there's just a little bit of water on my brush, and I am moving it to this blank area to see what those pigments look like. Now, anytime I put the brush on a different color, I want to clean it off first. And so now, actually, this color is called Vermilion Hue. Let's take a look at this. So you can see that these two reds, one of them looks quite close to orange, and the other one looks a little bit closer to a purple. So we are actually going to mix these two reds together to get a middle of the road red. I'm just rotating my piece of Bristol here so that I can find the square or the shape that is labeled red, and then I'm going to see what this looks like when I paint it. I am using my bristles to align with that edge and then moving very slowly across the other edge there so that I get a straight line. So you can see at the first pass, it is quite light, so we may need to come back with slightly more pigment and do another layer here. You can move your paper around so that it is easy for you to work with the brush to try to paint as close to in the line as possible. All right, so let's let that dry, and then maybe we will come back to it and add another layer if we need to. Now I'm going to use a mixture of the lemon yellow, which is our cool yellow here, with the permanent yellow deep. Mix those two together. That still looks a little warm to me, so I'm going to add a little bit more lemon yellow. So just like there are warm colors and cool colors on the color wheel, colors themselves can have a temperature and be either warm or cool in relation to each other. So in this case, the lemon yellow is cooler than the permanent yellow deep. So if I were mixing a green, I would start with the lemon yellow because it is closer to a lemon yellow color. If you run out of room on your palette here, you can always use the little sponge that is provided and just wipe up this area and clean it with your paper towel. Let's mix a blue. So the blue right here, number 149, is a Prussian blue. It looks very dark on the palette there, but when we get some water in it, we can see its color. And then 143, this is the cobalt hue. So the cobalt in this case is the cooler blue than this Prussian blue. And we are gonna mix them together and paint the blue square. So I am painting these shapes quickly, and I will let them dry and then add another layer of color so that they are darker. But now you can see I have my three primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. And you'll notice that they're evenly spaced from each other. There are 3 steps in between each one on the artist color wheel. After I've done my 3 primaries, I'm going to get started on the secondary colors. So I'm going to start with orange. So here I'm using the warmer yellow, which is this permanent yellow deep, and I am going to add just a little bit of the vermilion, and I should get a nice orange color. So anytime you are mixing 2 colors together, you want to start with the color that is lighter or weaker, and then add the stronger color to it. So we started with the yellow, and then we added a little bit of red to it because it's easier to work that way instead of the other way around. If I started with red, I would need a whole lot of yellow in order to get an orange. So I am going to put this orange color down now, and as I am painting it, I can see that it's roughly halfway in between the red and the yellow is this orange color here. When your color wheel is completed, you want to be able to squinch your eyes and have almost like a gradient. Your eye should travel from one color to the next in equal steps. All right, next, I think I'm going to paint the yellow-orange. So I'm going to take my warm yellow again. Let's see what that looks like here. So at the moment, the yellow-orange and the orange look almost identical, which means I really need to come back and make this orange a little bit darker, so that way it will appear closer to orange instead of yellow-orange. Now to mix the red-orange, I'm going to add a little bit of red. You can see that way too much. So I'm going to add yellow back in. See if we can get something closer to red-orange. All right, I think I need to darken my red before I can really move on here. So I'm going to add another layer of red to my color wheel. And I'm also going to add another layer of my orange. All right, now let's take a look. Let's let those dry, and then we will reassess the colors. I'm going to put another layer of my blue down here. And now let's mix a green. So I'm going to start again with that cool yellow, which is the lemon yellow, starting with the yellow, and then I'm just going to add a small amount of the blue in there to get the green. There is a green that is included in this kit. There are two. There's Viridian and Permanent Green Peel, but I'd like you to practice mixing with just the three primary colors for this exercise. Or six primary colors, actually, because there's a warm and a cool primary in your kit. All right. There's the start of a green. I think that needs a little. Now, when my water starts to get really dirty, I can go clean it out. So that way my colors will stay fresh and vibrant instead of starting to look kind of murky. All right, let's mix a green blue. All right, I'm gonna mix a violet. So I'm starting with the warm red now, and I'm gonna add some of the warmer blue. And the warmer blue is that Prussian blue. So if your color is very pale, you may have too much water. Like this looks very light to me. But I will let it dry and then add more to it. All right, so here we have the first pass at painting my color wheel. I'm going to let this dry, and then we're going to take a look at it once those colors are dry, and maybe I will add more. I will add a second layer to all of these colors on this side that look quite pale, and then I'm also going to adjust these colors through here, because right now the red, orange, and the orange look too similar to each other. All right, so let's check in a minute. Okay, and I am back. I have added another layer of paint to all of the colors on my color wheel, and you can see that they are starting to look much better. I probably still want to add maybe another layer to the blue violet and the violet so they look a little bit more saturated. But this should be enough to get you started. All right, happy painting, everybody.